Hello, it's Marty from Love Inspiration here, and welcome to this next level. What we're going to talk about here is we're going to talk about a little bit about the idea of interconnectedness, and we've spoken about this on a number of occasions throughout the lessons. And with this lesson, I really just want to bring a more theoretical understanding to this idea of oneness or interconnectedness, because it can be quite a esoteric concept for us to understand. And it's often said that as meditators or as a practitioner, we can feel some of these effects in our meditation practice, especially for those who are working with energy-based practices. As you progress in your practice and as you reach some of these higher levels, you can start to feel yourself as energy, and you start to become, in your meditative state, less focused on the physical body, but more focused on expanding the energies. For example, in Karuna Reiki, they say that the energies tend to work around you, and you can definitely feel more and more what is your aura and these energies as you become a little bit more spacious, a little bit more vast. And as we expand using some of these techniques I've shared with you, with visualizations and using our mind constructively to really bring this expansiveness through our altruistic intentions, we can start to have some of these experiential understandings of something more than just the physical body. So it's often said that these experiences experientially can be coupled with some of these theoretical teachings about interconnectedness and oneness, so that we can bring these together in our consciousness and have what we refer to as realizations. So it is with this understanding and with this idea that I want to introduce you to some more theoretical components. Because as we will see, the idea of interconnectedness can actually be a deeply scientific concept. And we're going to introduce the idea here of, or the field of quantum physics. This is a branch of science that effectively analyzes the very minuscule parts of our reality. So, for example, it looks at the subatomic level. And for those who aren't very scientifically read like myself, this is basically like seeing a chair. The chair is made up of millions and millions and billions of tiny little atoms. And what quantum physics attempts to do is it attempts to look at the elements of the atom, and it tries to understand what's making up the atom and beyond. So what they found in a nutshell, and I don't want to go too much into the science and lose people, but what they found is that the atom is basically empty space. It's largely not a physical object or particle as we would suspect. And there's a really good video you can see on YouTube. You just type in Dr. Quantum into YouTube. It's a really good 5-minute animated video which talks a little bit more about what they've done with the atoms to understand that actually everything is just energy. When I say the atom is mostly empty space, there is something indescribable which is vibrating and feeding this atom. There is something there that we just can't understand. We refer to this as energy. Some refer to this as consciousness. But this 5-minute video from Dr. Quantum will help you to understand a little bit more about the concept or the idea that everything is just energy. And this is a wonderful place for us to start as we talk about interconnectedness. Because interconnectedness is something that we need to talk about at an energetic level. This is very simple, because if we were to think interconnectedness, and I have my own body here, and I can see things around me. If you look around a garden, you can see the trees, you can see a couch, in your house there is a TV. These are all separate objects. So if we think about interconnectedness on this physical level, It's really very difficult to do and to grasp. But actually, in the teachings of Buddhism, it's said to us that there are two levels of reality, or two levels of looking at reality. There's the physical level, which we see every day. And these are all of the physical things that appear to have a separate body, or a separate vehicle, or a separate. They're very separate from us. And this is one level of understanding. But then the deeper level of understanding, and this is what science would refer to as the subatomic level. This is where the ultimate level, as it's referred to in Buddhism, this is where the energetic level, where we talk about interconnectedness. And there is a really, really nice piece of science brought to us by Dr. John Hagelin, who has said to have now discovered this idea of this energy being a unified field. And I personally don't understand the science behind it, so I literally cannot validate this for you. But again, you can watch some videos on YouTube. If you just type in John Hagelin consciousness or something like this, you will see these videos where he is able to explain that there is now a mathematical foundation and a scientific basis for this idea that energy is interconnected throughout the entire cosmos. And if we were to try and think about this in our meditation, we might think that our physical body is like this, contained within the skin. The chakras, or the energy centers, are within this. And our aura, or our outer layer of outer energy bodies, actually are around 1 to 2 meters around our physical body. Now, if we then think of the oxygen that surrounds us, this is an energy source. If we think of other people also having this aura, and two people are standing very close together, then naturally you can sort of visualize for yourself how the energy is interconnected. Maybe you have a plant or a tree. It is also said that these sort of trees and plants also have a slight aura around them. So if you are very close to a tree and your aura is mixing with its aura, then you can see here that there may be an energetic interconnectedness. So again, this is a little bit esoteric, and we haven't got so much, apart from the unified field theory and other science out there, this can be a little bit difficult for us to understand. So I want to explain, I want to share with you just two experiments, or three experiments actually. The first one is, many people know about, is a Japanese scientist called Dr. Emoto, and he basically figured out a way to photograph water, or the molecular structure of water. And what he did in very simple terms, and I'm going to paraphrase here to make this short and simple, he basically got 2 water samples from a dam, and the water had an existing molecular structure, which let's say it was quite dirty. So what he did, effectively he did a number of different experiments, but to simplify this for you, to simplify the concept, we write one love, the word love, on one container or one sample, and we write the word hate on one sample. I think the actual words were, you disgust me, I will kill you, or something like this. But let's say hate. And what the experiment did was to send the intention of love into this sample, and to send the intention of hate to this sample. And then he photographed the molecular structure of the water to see what would happen. And as I said, he did a whole bunch of other experiments, but all centering around this type of idea. Can the water respond to our intention or our thoughts? If we send something, can it respond to that? And his results are unbelievable. The photographs are really, truly astounding. And he did actually find that these types of loving intentions or generous intentions really did impact the water molecules. And these types of hateful intentions, again, really impacted the molecular structure. When he photographed both of these waters, this water with love had beautiful crystal type structure, clean and brilliantly shining. But this one looked a little bit more like vomit. The molecular structure was very disgusting. I suppose my point with this is, how can the water be affected by our intentions without interconnectedness? And this isn't conclusive, I would agree. So let's think of another experiment. I'll introduce another experiment to you. And this one was done by Dr. Clive Baxter. And again, I'm going to paraphrase for the simple video. But basically, Dr. Clive Baxter was a polygraph expert for the CIA for many years. And he was retired. And he decided to apply his polygraph testing to plants to see if he could gauge some stress response. To simplify the polygraph, it's basically a way of testing the stress response within an organism to see if it has a spike which indicates that it's stressed. So again, these experiments went for many years, and I'm going to paraphrase them. There are many amazing results from this, but effectively he was able to prove that the plant would respond to our intention. He spent many times he was trying to make the plant react to something, and what he found is, as soon as he had the intention to do the plant harm, the plant spiked. Somehow the plant reacted to his intention. This is very difficult to understand, but how can this plant react to the intention without some sort of interconnectedness, without some sort of intelligence? So again, there were other experiments he did. One experiment which was quite amazing was that he basically took a whole bunch of brine shrimp, and what he did is he put the brine shrimp into boiling water, and the brine shrimp died. And he tested the plant for the stress response as this process was happening. And what he found was the plant actually responded stressfully to the killing of the shrimp in the boiling water. And this is unbelievable. I mean, how can the plant respond to the killing of what is an animal in the surrounding area? So really this makes the mind boggle. But agreed, this is not conclusive proof, but there is something here to really ponder for you. And the last experiment I want to introduce you to is something which has been labelled the Maharishi effect. And again, this experiment went on for many years, and there's been many experiments with this, but I'm going to paraphrase this for you. So the experiment was carried out in Washington, and the thinking was that, can we bring a group of people together and meditate, and can that group of people impact the surrounding area? So if we had thousands of people meditating, and we could quantify, if we can somehow quantify the effect on the surrounding environment, then surely we can prove interconnectedness. So they went to the police. There was many studies done before this with some successful results. So the organisers of this experiment went to the police, and they said, and they predicted that they would have a 25% reduction in crime over the summer. And they carried out the experiment. The police at the start laughed, just said they were ridiculous, which is totally understandable. But actually, as the experiment went on, the police actually became co-authors in this study, which you can find online if you type in the Maharishi experiment. And what they actually found at the end of the summer was that there was an exact drop in crime in Washington, D.C. during that period of time of 25%. And the reason they were so accurate is because there was over 40 experiments previous to this, on a smaller scale, that also showed when you have a group of people in meditation, and I'm not sure exactly what they were meditating on, maybe loving kindness, but sending out positive vibrations into the surrounding area, they were able to quantify that that had an impact on the surrounding environment. So these experiments, I think, help us to really grasp that there may be something here, with interconnectedness. Our energies are interconnected, and all of the spiritual teachings and the scientific data seem to now be coming together in what is now a beautiful fusion. And with this video, I just wanted to bring some of these small experiments. There's much, much more out there, of course, but I wanted to bring this understanding, or this, I want to share this information so that you can ponder on some of these in your meditation. You can maybe make this idea more believable for you, the idea that we are interconnected at the ultimate level, at the energetic level, and that actually we are not so different after all. So when you are approaching your practice, and you may start to feel some of these energies surrounding you, you can actually bring in this left brain theoretical understanding, scientific reasoning, that actually you are a very expansive being. So I really hope this helps with your practice and with the expanding the awareness of this really important concept. And I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson, where we're going to be talking about altruistic thinking and how these interrelate with this idea of interconnectedness also. So thank you for listening again, and we look forward to seeing you in the next lesson. Namaste.